It's March 8th, 2019.
This is Nerd Bourbon episode 92. I'm Seth Sturgill.
And I'm Todd Sturgill.
Hello, sir.
Hello, how are you?
Don't hurt me, sir.
Oh, I'm not going to hurt you.
Oh, no. I should have known that opening that door would have made you take it to a dark place.
That's what I do.
I'm just a shy little boy this week, Todd. I'm shy and I'm timid. Wait, we went to a bad place real quick this week.
Oh.
This may be this may end up being a weird episode because A, we're recording a little earlier than we normally do in the week. B, there's not that much news to cover. And C, we haven't really been playing anything different. I feel like we're just like, every week it's the same shit. I mean, there is a couple of new things that we'll talk about. So we'll see. I want to open the floor, as we always do, Todd, by discussing the games we've been playing. What have you been playing this week?
Shit. Honestly, it's fucking hilarious with me being on like 5 days at work right now. It's like my days just like blur together.
I've been in this weird cycle of like sleep. I swear to God, I cannot like, on my days off, I try to enjoy them, but I just end up sleeping. Like it's all I do. It's
harder for me right now just because I just get like a day off and it's like I'm right back to work.
Right.
And because it's just like shit. That one night off is like rough when you're overnight.
Yes, because again, like by the time you get home, you go to sleep, you wake up, and boom, half your day is gone.
Yep, exactly. And it's just like, I'm going to be honest, I'm not that entirely nocturnal when I'm off.
Oh, no, neither am I.
Yeah, because I tend to actually sleep during the night because, it's a normal human thing to do.
Yeah, imagine that, Todd. Imagine working overnight and still having the inclination to try to be a normal human being. Imagine that. That's a rough road to hoe there.
Yeah. So, but yeah, it's like on the days that I am off, I try to play way more games, but it just doesn't really happen. Like shit, majority of like, what is it, like a couple days ago, you Snapchatted me. You're like, oh, we're not going to be playing Far Cry. A part of me was like, oh, that sucks. The other part of me is like rolling the fuck back over to go back to bed.
Yes. Although we did play some Far Cry today. That was fun.
Ah, yes. Yeah, that was good.
Whenever we do get that opportunity to just savor like a juicy steak, to just sit there and savor some sweet video game time, I always enjoy it. Far Cry has been fun. I mean, I feel like a broken record because we kind of talk about Far Cry sporadically every week.
Yeah.
But Far Cry New Dawn continues to be a lot of fun. The story continues to be pretty interesting. Real quick though, I do want to highlight a mechanic that I sort of just learned about when we played today. The outpost scavenging mechanic. I really like that a lot.
Well, it's a smart mechanic to have in a game that doesn't really have that many outposts in general.
Yeah, because like there doesn't seem like there's that many outposts. Like there's probably less than 10 outposts in the entire game. But you can sort of, after you've kind of taken them, you can scavenge them, earn some ethanol, and then take them back at a higher difficulty to earn more ethanol, and you can sort of rinse and repeat that. And that's a really cool idea, I think. Like, that's something that I kind of hope they carry forward into the future of Far Cry, if it makes sense.
I mean, will always make sense is the thing.
I think you can find story reasons for that to make sense outside of a post-apocalyptic setting. Because for me, it's like, it's strategic, right? It's almost like you're playing with your food. It's almost like you're letting them take it back just so that you can fuck their resources even harder. I kind of like that. I like the sort of guerrilla tactics that implies. And I don't know, like for me, like taking down outposts is like some of the most fun that I have in Far Cry. And ethanol, especially in this one, ethanol is a really precious upgrade resource. So it's nice to have, like, when we were doing that, I was like, well, this is easily the best way to get ethanol.
Oh, easily. Because I think you were even talking about doing it off recording, just farming that shit.
Yeah, because you can sort of, when you join my game, you're essentially reaping the benefits of, like, my game, because none of it's carrying over to yours.
Yeah, because like shit, Lord knows I ain't playing that game by myself right now.
Yeah, so I'm sort of at this place where I'm like, I can just farm ethanol and upgrade my prosperity to the max or whatever, even when Todd's not playing with me. That way, when you do jump in and we do want to play more of the story, you have access to all of this like good shit.
Yeah.
You know? So, and that'll allow us, because we're at this place right now where we're sort of looking through the map at like the missions and the side missions we have, and we're like, okay, these are kind of like tier 3 missions. These might be a little difficult for us, you know? So I think that upgrading prosperity and having access to like tier 3 and even like epic weapons is going to give us a huge advantage with some of that stuff. So that's something that I think I'm going to be doing over the next while. There's a lot of I have a lot on my video gaming plate. I always do, but right now I really have a full plate in front of me of just like cleanup stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Where it's like I finished Kingdom Hearts 3's main story finally after, over a month now that the game has come out. But, I was taking my time with it. I was just enjoying myself. And I have to say, and I think I talk about this just about every week, and I don't want to keep tooting the same Kingdom Hearts horn, but as much as I was having problems with that game, and I do think that the game is flawed in some significant ways, and I do think that the game is disappointing in some ways, but overall, especially when you get to the final world and basically onward until the end of the game, wow. Like, it is crazy how much payoff there is in the story, and like how emotional it gets, and how like fucking weird it gets in all of the best ways. Like, I'm sitting there during the last, like, say 3 hours of the game. Like, as a diehard, like, Kingdom Hearts fan from the very beginning, you're clapping, you're fucking cheering, you're crying. I mean, it's crazy. It's a roller coaster of emotions. It's so impressive how Kingdom Hearts 3 manages to, like, pay off all of the weird, convoluted plot threads that it's had over the years. All of them are all wrapped up in Kingdom Hearts 3. Like, all of them. It doesn't matter if you were a fan of the mobile game. Like, that stuff plays a big role. Like, the Birth by Sleep story, that's all tied up. The story from all the spin-off games, like, everything is all tied up pretty beautifully.
That's impressive. I'll give it that.
It really is. Like, it's kind of beautiful the way that they tie everything together. And I mean, yeah, it's not like it's not hard to follow. If you have not followed this series, I can't imagine. Like, dead ass, now that I've actually seen the entire story for myself, if you have not been following Kingdom Hearts, the story of Kingdom Hearts 3 is not for you. Like, period. It's not for you.
That's why I'll pass.
Yeah, I mean, the gameplay is great, and I think anybody could appreciate the gameplay, but the story is just, you are not going to be able to follow it. Like, they have a really great sort of like story refresher thing, but even that is not going to be enough. Especially once you start talking about, so there's a kind of secret ending and like some like hidden stuff that's sort of teasing the future of the series, because Kingdom Hearts is going to continue on, even though, I'm not going to spoil anything, but even though Sora's story and the story of like the Keyblade War and all that is tied up in Kingdom Hearts 3. Like, that has nowhere else to go. You know
Spoilers?
what I mean?
No.
It's not a spoiler. It's just I think Nomura even said, like, before the release of the game that, like, that was the intention of Kingdom Hearts 3, was to sort of make sure all of those threads were closed, and they are. Like, those characters and this story, that's all. It's done now. You can't go anywhere else with this. But they do sort of tease like where the series is heading, and that seems interesting. There's also like implications of other things that maybe they might be doing with the characters and the world that could be potentially cool, but that's skirting along the spoiler side. I'll say the secret movie is fucking crazy. Like, the implications that the secret movie has is like silly. Like, I actually don't even believe it. Like, I don't know how to take it. Is this just like you're just having fun? Like, you're just doing this for fun? Or is this like a real thing that you're doing? It's like that weird. I'm like, are you being serious right now? Kind of thing. So, we'll see. But so now it's just kind of a bunch of like grinding for me with Kingdom Hearts. Like it's just kind of working on my platinum, you know. That's pretty much all there is to it at this point. I've got a lot of grinding ahead of me, but the main story is finally done. I have seen the conclusion of Kingdom Hearts 3, and that's a weird thing for me to say. That's a weird realization. Kingdom Hearts 3 exists. I've put like 60 hours into it, and I have seen where the story ends. And that's weird.
And you are satisfied with it?
Very. Yeah, very much so. I mean, again, I can't stress enough how impressive it is that they tied this up in a satisfying way. I mean, I really didn't think they could do it. But they did. The game has other problems. I think the world list is weak, as I've said before. I think the triangle button has way too many functions.
I hate that when any game does that, though. Like, when one button does too much shit.
Yeah, it's like Gears of War. They make the A button do too much, where it's like, oh, this is how you roadie run, this is also how you snap to cover, and this is also how you vault over things. So, I you know, that's always annoying. There are a bunch of like little issues with Kingdom Hearts 3, and you know, I think at the end of the day, I mean, look, this stuff is all sort of weeb trash, power of friendship up the ass. But if you're on board for it, like if you're on board for what Kingdom Hearts is, if you can accept Kingdom Hearts for what it is, and just stick along for the crazy ride, then it is so like, it's so weird. Like I feel like I've just been eating this meal slowly over the past, like, God, I mean, the first game came out like, what's like 17 years ago or something like that?
Fucking hell.
I mean, seriously, I was a kid playing the first game. And like, and now here I am as an adult, like a grown-ass married man, and finally seeing all of this stuff converge. It's crazy. It's almost like, you almost can't replicate that experience. I've never really felt anything quite like it. I think the only thing that would come close is if Half-Life 3 suddenly came out. That's I think the only thing that would kind of come close.
I don't think that'll ever happen, though.
I think Half-Life 3 is going to happen one day.
You think it's going to happen?
One day. One day I think Valve is going to... I don't think they're going to, like, tease it or announce it.
It'll just get dropped.
I think they're serious. Valve is crazy enough to do it, especially now that... And Valve has said that they're working on, like, single-player games and stuff like that still. So I seriously think that Half-Life... And it'll probably still be Episode 3. It'll probably be a smaller thing. I think that one day they will drop Episode 3 and they'll just do it. And Valve is now in a position where, with the Epic Game Store and stuff, they actually are not invincible anymore, right? Mm-hmm. Like, it's... I always think of this line from 300, where it's like, we've proven that even a God King can bleed, you know? And that's sort of what... But that's sort of what Epic Games Store has done. They've proven that even a God King can bleed. Even Steam has had a absolute monopoly over, you know, computer video game sales and digital, you know, computer games. Like they've had an absolute monopoly over it, and they still definitely have the controlling interest in that market. But they've proven that they can be hurt, right? So like Valve kind of has to bring a little bit more to the table now, and I'm not talking about just making a Dota card game, you know. So I sort of, and this is something that you and I have talked about on the podcast again and again, especially now that the sort of console generation is coming to an end. Like, competition is always a good thing, and the reason Valve has been such a stagnant company for so long is because they haven't had any competition. And so now that they do, I think we are probably at a better position to get Half-Life 3 or Half-Life 2 Episode 3 or whatever than we ever have been, honestly. So, that's how I feel about it. Shadow drop that shit. Out of nowhere. You wake up one morning, Half-Life 3 available now.
People would lose their fucking shit.
The amount of people that would call off of work if that happened... God. The like worldwide phenomenon that would create if they did that. Mm-hmm. If they just said, "Hey, like Half-Life 2 Episode 3, it's available right now. You can go buy it."
Here's the thing, that shit's a meme in general right now. So it's like, God.
Is Half-Life 3 or Episode 3, is that the last of the... I mean, now that we know that Psychonauts 2 is coming, we've had, like, Duke Nukem Forever, Kingdom Hearts 3, like, all these games. Is that the last bastion of, like, the sort of, like, games that you thought would never happen?
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
Like, all these games that you just thought were dead? I think Half-Life 3 is probably the last one, the last holdout of that. Because we always assumed, like, oh, these games are never going to come out. But now, I mean, look. Psychonauts 2 coming out this fall.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I just played Kingdom Hearts 3. These are real things. Strange, exciting times we live in, Todd. Have you been playing anything other than the game that we've both been playing mutually?
Which one are you talking about?
Well, we'll just segue this into a conversation about Ape Out.
Yeah. That's basically the only other game I have been playing. Like that.
I definitely have been excited to talk to you about Ape Out.
I haven't put like much time into it, but I have played a couple levels.
I was about to ask, how far are you?
I'm not that far. I don't
So-
even remember.
Okay, well that's fair. I mean, honestly, the one of the brilliant things about Ape Out. So Ape Out, for those that don't know, it's an indie game. So I have Todd here with me in Seth's indie corner this time. It's not.
I don't belong here. No.
It's not often that you get to play, or that you're interested in a good indie game. So I'm excited. I'm excited that you're actually playing this, and I knew instantly that you would like it. Like the second I booted it up.
It calls to my depression.
Because what Ape Out is, so this is a sort of top-down beat 'em up slash kind of light puzzle game, almost like a Hotline Miami style beat 'em up game where you play as a ape that is broken out of some sort of lab facility, and you're just making your way through these levels, killing your captors who are trying to stop you, basically. The game's developed by, his name's Gabe Casillo, I guess. But the interesting thing is I didn't realize that the art was actually done by Bennett Foddy. That's actually funny to me.
Yeah.
Because the game has got such a striking art style that, like when you look at Bennett Foddy's other games like Quap and Getting Over It, like, you can kind of see the common thread between Quap and Getting Over It, but Ape Out is so distinct, like, in its art. Like, it looks like this weird, like, frenetic, pulsating, like, I don't even know how to describe it. Like, it has, like, a really simple palette. Like, there's only a few colors on screen at any given time. The whole thing sort of feels to me, when I'm playing Ape Out, what keeps coming into my mind is that the game is, like, it's jazz, basically. Like, it's so freeform and it's so, like, random, because the levels are randomized.
Mm-hmm.
And even down to the music. The music is kind of randomized. Like, it's playing these, like, it's playing this constant, as you move, this constant sort of drum beat, but then, like, the percussion is hit every time you, like, throw or kill an enemy. It's so satisfying.
It's actually, like, I was, like, first time I was playing it, I was, like, listening to music on the on my computer, and I was like, oh no, I can't do this. I need to experience Ape Out in all its glory.
Yeah, Ape Out is one of those games that you have to experience, like, full stop on its own. And, like, the things that Ape Out does, and it's, like, in its sort of limited design scope, that it's my favorite thing. I love it when games and indie games do this very well, where they take a very limited set of mechanics and they do so much with them. Because really all Ape Out is, like, all you can really do as the ape, and maybe this expands later on in the game. I hope it doesn't, because I hope that they just continue to do this. I've only gone through 2 of the game's worlds, which the game calls albums, which I love. Really, all you can do is you run around as the ape. You can grab things, and you can throw things. That's kind of it, and it's great. Like, you can run up on people and, like, grab a scientist who has, like, a gun and cause him to shoot one of his friends, then throw him at his other friend, you know? And the whole time it just has this sort of, like, eclectic sort of soundtrack that is sort of, like, changing with the flow of your gameplay. It's so good. And, like, it just has that right shape. You know what I mean? Where it's like it's totally like brainless. Like you kind of get into a flow state with Ape Out a little bit.
I think that's one of the main reasons that game speaks to my depression.
Exactly.
That's the type of brain dead shit I love.
That's just like this. And Hotline Miami totally spoke to this similar thing. Like this game reminds me a lot of Hotline Miami, but Hotline Miami's story actually kind of involves that too. Ape Out doesn't really have much of a story, but it's so satisfying working your way through these. And again, they're called albums, and they're sort of presented like they're like vinyl records or something like that. The worlds of the game. I love the title. Ape Out is a great title because not only does it mean like you're aping out, you're raging, you're pissed off, but it also means like when you actually clear the world and you actually do escape the facility, the screen just says Ape Out. Like the ape is out, the ape has escaped, you know?
Yeah.
It's great. I love that. And I just, again, like it feels like one thing that I think we have lost a lot of in AAA games versus indie games is the sort of like, I'm going to try to say this in a way that makes sense. I'm going to try to like demonstrate my thought in a way that makes sense. The idea of authorship, like the idea of like uniqueness in game design, like Ape Out feels like it is made by somebody who wants to put their stamp on a thing and make it unique and make it their own thing, right? Like the style of Ape Out is not something that I can really describe or compare to anything else. Like it's sort of like its vibe is wholly unique and purposefully authored by its designer, you know? That's not something you really get in the AAA space.
Mm-hmm.
You can sort of compare and contrast AAA games. This game is sort of like this game, or like it's like this meets this. Ape Out, yeah, I can say like, yeah, the gameplay reminds me of Hotline Miami or whatever, but the actual style is completely unlike anything I've played before.
Yeah, Ape Out is Ape Out.
Exactly. You can't really replicate that. That's such a hard thing to do. And that's something that we're just not seeing a whole lot of in the AAA space anymore. And I think that like indie gaming is so special because authorship is still a thing. There are a few designers where like, you know, like Hideo Kojima, right? You know when you're playing a weird ass Kojima game, right? Like
I'm
that's
just laughing to myself because now that man has full control.
yeah. Now Death Stranding can be a true Kojima game.
Oh Lord!
And that, you know, there are a few examples of games that still have like sort of the idea of authorship, but that sort of thing is sort of unique to indie games now because indie games have such a low barrier of entry for creativity. Like you can be as creative as you want, and you know, a game like Ape Out really stands out for me. I actually pointed you towards one of the more recent Penny Arcade comics about Ape Out. The game is so refreshing because like it doesn't have microtransactions. There's no bullshit, you know. Like it's just a game that's there for you to enjoy it. It's not broken. I think the joke for Penny Arcade, there's no like year-long roadmap to when the game is actually going to be fun.
That shit spoke to me on like a spiritual level.
Some real shit. So Ape Out is just this like simple, pure, fun game that just like we've been saying, like just totally speaks to, you know, that sort of brain dead flow state mindset that I really like, and it's just brilliantly designed, looks and sounds unlike anything I've ever played before. I cannot recommend it highly enough. I really, really love it. And I'm glad you're playing it.
I plan on playing more when I'm off. So
yeah, it's really great, and it controls great in handheld mode on the Switch. So it's really, really great. I highly recommend it. I think that's probably about it. I don't know, have you been playing anything else?
I mean, I can tell you what I've not been playing.
Oh, what's that?
Anthem.
Oh God, that's actually a solid segue into our news here.
I know. It was planned.
Because we do have some Anthem-related news now that Anthem has essentially taken on the mantle that Fallout 76 once carried.
I swear to God, I bet Bethesda's sitting there like, Yeah, that's right. Talk about this fucking game.
Pete Hines over there at Bethesda is just like stroking his evil mustache. Like, yes, yes, finally.
Forget about Fallout 76. Move on to this game.
Forget about us. We're not that bad. At least we're not Anthem. Right? Yeah, so this is something that's been making the rounds here. And there have been a few updates to this story, but Anthem players have reported that on PS4, the game is actually causing it to crash or sometimes brick their PS4s. Which is crazy. And it's been kind of a widespread problem. They have since figured out fixes for this. Oh my god. Yeah, so I'm looking here. There's been a fix shared on Reddit that there's a workaround for PS4s that no longer turn on after. Apparently, this happens when you shut down the system while running Anthem.
Oh god. And
the method that you have to take requires booting the console in safe mode, and then you have to select an option called Rebuild Database.
Holy shit!
You have to jump through all these hoops to get your console to work again after playing Anthem. What a mess! What a mess this fucking game is.
I want to enjoy this game. I want to.
and EA has been so I'm looking at the @EA Help Twitter account here. It's just so it's such a non-response. We're aware of a crashing issue some of you have been reporting for Anthem. We're investigating and ask that you share your crash data reports when prompted.
Sounds about right.
It's like wow. Yeah, no, I just, and looking at this, I'm just sort of thank God I'm not playing this train wreck of a game. And I don't want to keep beating the drum every week of fucking RIP BioWare, but God, this game, not since Fallout 76 has this game has really taken on the mantle of the newest disaster in video games. People aren't going to be buying this game anymore.
Yeah.
You know, they're not going to turn this around. I don't know, it's a bummer. Anthem bums me out. I unlike Fallout 76, I sort of got a little bit of a sick pleasure from reading about how broken Fallout 76 was and how they were sending out the shitty bags and all that.
See, it got to the point where it was funny.
Right.
Anthem's just sad.
For me, Anthem is just so sad because I just know how much is riding, and I think that's what it is. I know how much it was riding on Anthem. And it's sad when you Dan was talking to me about this the other day, where you look at the old dev diaries, and they're oh, it's kind of emblematic of our company. This is our anthem. This is what we stand for, you know. And then they release this pile of dog shit, and it's the game is not good, and the game is crashing and causing PS4s to brick, and it's all these problems. I feel bad for them. The game was not ready. The game was not ready for prime time. I predicted at E3. I was actually surprised when they announced that it was coming out in February. I was surprised.
Yeah, honestly, no, it should have been pushed back. They should have had more time to work on it, honestly.
Yeah, I thought for sure they were going to push it. When they announced that it was coming in February, I was oh wow. I didn't think it was ready. And turns out I was right. So I'm sort of just I'm at this place where, and I understand EA couldn't, they needed their big game for the fiscal year to come out before April and all that.
Problem is, it's not the big game they wanted.
Yeah, that's the issue, right? I understand you gotta pay off the, the creditors and stuff like that, and you gotta make your money, but the game suffers and the sales suffer in turn, What a bummer. They are so fucking lucky. EA should be bowing at the feet of Respawn right now. Because if it were not for Apex Legends, they would have eaten shit on everything. Apex probably single-handedly saved their first quarter. Ugh. What a mess. What a mess. Todd, do you want to talk about Sonic the Hedgehog?
No, I don't, because I hate everything about it.
But what, Todd? What's wrong with the live action Sonic the Hedgehog?
It looks disturbing to me. That's like some shit out of like that's some like nightmare fuel.
There's an agency called Hamagami/Carol Inc., who apparently specializes in entertainment industry art and branding, have given us what we can only assume to be our first look at the final design of Sonic the Hedgehog in the Sonic the Hedgehog movie that's coming out. And
it's not good.
It's not good. I don't know what to make of it. I'm upset.
Well, here's the thing. I don't think Sonic is a character that can ever translate to like 3D shit like this type of shit they're doing.
Yeah, the sort of realistic thing. What they should have done is they should have taken the sort of like they should have gone a full animated route. You know, they should have done a fully animated, like, you know, and let Illumination do it or something.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah.
Now I got this fucking nightmare fuel.
But, I mean, if you look at the brand personality screen here, because it's a bunch of just, like, marketing things where it's just, like, showcasing his design and stuff like that and the art that they did for the film. And they say that he's confident and competitive, and chill and likable, heroic and adventurous. It's pretty bad. Am I mistaken, or is he not even wearing gloves? I think his skin is just white. Is that what I'm seeing here?
No.
I need a better look at this.
You don't want a better look at it.
But I need it. I don't think he's wearing gloves, dude. No, he's not. I'm looking at a bigger picture that Polygon has here. He's no gloves. His fur just turns white on his hands. Oh, I hate it. I'm just staring at this high-res image of him now, and it just is looking into my soul. There's nothing good about this. This is worse. Like, this is even worse than the Pokemon stuff for me.
Now, is it worse than Genie? No, I don't think it is.
I don't know.
No, it's Will Smith's Genie is worse. I'll be honest.
Their thing, yeah. I mean, I guess Will Smith's Genie is probably worse, but just why do we have to live in this fucked up nightmare zone? Like, why do we have to live in this weird zone of like bad design? I don't like it. Why can't these things just be good? Why couldn't you have just made him a short, fat little thing? Instead of this, like, slender, naked, blue runner boy.
I mean, that's what Sonic is.
It's gross. It's gross. It's gross and bad. Anyway.
Gross and bad.
There's, one last sort of news bit that I had. Again, it's been a slow news week. There's a rumor. We keep in mind we've got GDC coming up very, very soon. What's the date on that? Let me actually just do a quick Google search, get you the date on that. GDC 2019 is happening this month on the 18th. This month on the 18th, GDC is happening. And there's been a lot of rumors. We talked last week about the sort of rumors of the Xbox-Nintendo collaboration that may come out of GDC. Well, we've got another one here. Allegedly, a discless Xbox One is coming this spring.
Okay.
New rumors suggest that an Xbox One S without a disk drive may be coming soon. I guess it's referred to internally as Maverick. It's called the Xbox One S All Digital Edition. Microsoft is reportedly aiming for pre-orders to open up in mid-April, with availability coming in early May.
See, who the fuck's trying to buy a new system like now, though?
I think the thing about it is when they launched this with the Xbox One S is, I think, already the cheaper option.
Yeah.
I don't know what it retails for right now, because I just haven't been on the market for an Xbox One S in a long time. But so it looks like on average an Xbox One S looks like on average goes for about $200. $250. GameStop has like a $250 bundle here that I'm looking at. So it looks like $299 is the standard retail price, and a lot of times you can find it on sale for like $200, $250. What I imagine this is probably going to be, disc free, and they'll probably retail it for $199. That's a very attractive price. $199 is cheap for an Xbox One. I mean, think about that.
Still, though.
For
We were just
$199,
recently talking about this generation coming to an end. That's why I'm like, yeah.
the average consumer doesn't care about that. The average consumer, like, there are people that I know that are still going out and they're looking to buy 360s and PS3s.
Oh, God.
You know what I mean? I mean, I'm serious. Like, there are people who are like, where can I get my hands on a Wii?
Fuck
You know,
that.
think about this. For the average consumer, like, for somebody like me, I look at this and I'm like, shit, that would be a really cool way I could download some of my 4K Blu-rays. I have my download code on my 4K Blu-rays. I could download that onto an Xbox One S and actually display it in full 4K. You know, I could get an Xbox One S and Game Pass, and there you go, $200. You've got a fully competent and capable 4K capable Xbox One for $200. I mean, that's really not a bad deal, especially if they bundle this thing with download codes, which they probably will, because it's going to cost them nothing to do that.
What are the... Did it say anything about, like, the external hard drive? Or the internal hard drive? Sorry.
They don't. But it seems to me like it would probably be at least a 500 gig.
Shit, that's still garbage.
I think a lot of these Xbox One S's start at 500, and they do make terabyte models.
What I say is I'm gonna be honest, the 500 gigabyte in like this world, that shit doesn't cut it.
As a matter of fact, I'm looking here at Xbox One S's on GameStop's website, and most of these, it's actually most of these are kind of starting at 1 terabyte. So like,
okay, I'm about to say, because a terabyte is, you honestly need at least a terabyte nowadays.
Yeah, you can get a 500 gig one. I would say that honestly, they would be very smart to put out a bundle like this one here. So they've got this Xbox One S 1 terabyte Fortnite bundle for $249. So I mean, if they could put that out for $199, you get an Xbox One S, no disk drive, but you can download all this stuff. They've got a bundle here that comes with a copy of Anthem. You know what I mean? Battlefield 5. I mean, if they bundle it with a digital game for $199, 1 terabyte Xbox One S, that's a really attractive offer.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. But the more interesting thing about that is like, is Microsoft yet again being an innovator in this space of saying, hey, guess what? We're not going to do physical games on this console. And I almost wonder if this thing did well enough, would they consider putting out a model of the next Xbox without a disk drive? Because that would be very attractive to me. I'll tell you what, if they put that out, I would buy that version. I don't buy physical games anymore, really. You know what I mean?
Some real shit. Dude, I am like, I've been doing the digital thing for like fucking years now.
I bought a physical copy of Kingdom Hearts 3 because I wanted to have it on the shelf. You know,
that's the collector in you. You want that shit looking nice on your shelf.
It's pretty much
Lord knows that's not the version you play.
No, I played the digital version. I literally spent an extra $60 to have the game digitally on my console. Because I mean, the reality of it is that this stuff is going to take up the same amount of hard drive space on your system. You know, all this stuff is still going to happen, whether you like it or not. It's not like it's saving you anything to have the physical copy. And I know that, you know, a lot of physical, you know, kind of people are sort of, their big argument is, oh, well, what if the fucking apocalypse happens and you're just not able to play your games or whatever? It's like,
well, I don't think I'm going to be playing games in the apocalypse.
It's shit like that. Like, 30 years from now, you're not going to be able to play you're going to have your old PS4 and you're going to have all this shit 30 years from now? You know what I mean? Like, I don't have my old systems from when I was a kid. I don't know. I think there's a subset of people that speaks to, but for me, I have essentially embraced the digital future. The only thing that keeps me tethered to like Blu-rays and physical media for movies is because it is not that easy yet to take your digital movies to other places. So, like, I don't know what the solution for that would be, but for me, like, if I wanted to... So every now and then I'll go to my parents' house and we'll have, like, a movie night. or whatever. And if there was an easy way for me to take my digital copy of a movie and bring it over to my parents' house, that'd be one thing. But there's not. So I end up buying Blu-rays, and now I can take my copy with me or whatever. But other than that, if they had a good solution to make these digital games and these digital movies more portable, I think I would go full in. But yeah, other than Kingdom Hearts 3, I think God of War was the last one I bought physically, and honestly, I sort of regret that. Because I'm like, just digital is just better in like every way, to just have it there on your console. You don't have to worry about it. You own the license for it. I mean, there's security in it.
I've slowly watched you grow up into this.
It took me a little while because, I mean, you know, I was one of those physical people for a long time.
Yeah, because I just the moment digital thing started being a thing, I was kind of like, bam, fuck GameStop.
Well, it took me until really, I mean, think about it this way. This is just goes to show how old school I am. Until I got my first iPhone back in like 2009 or 10 or whatever it was, I was still buying CDs. Like,
oh god.
Like it took me a little while to divorce myself from the physical media for CDs and shit. So,
you poor bastard.
Yeah. So it's a process, but you know, like I for games, I'm basically all digital at this point, and I like it because I can preload my games, I can pre-purchase them well in advance, and have them just ready on launch day. I don't have to wait for an Amazon package. I don't have to drive to a GameStop. I like that.
I think the only times we've ever recently bought like a physical copy, I think it was a Black Ops 4 for the both of us, is because that shit was just a really good fucking deal on Amazon.
Yeah, I mean it was like so cheap, you know, and like there are situations like that where it's like, okay, I can get the physical copy for just like an absurd price. Then I'm not going to be an idiot. I'll go ahead and I'll buy it if it's saving me that much money. But this is another thing that you have to think about, Todd, is like if we as a community, if we as a people embrace this all digital future that we are inevitably going to get to, once internet service is more accessible across the country, we will get there. Once that happens, the sooner we embrace that, the better, because the stuff's going to get cheaper. Mm-hmm. If these people don't have to manufacture, you know, this stuff is going to get cheaper. And I you know what, I bet you that Microsoft embracing this, it would be really interesting if the next generation came around and they said, hey, you know what? If you buy the game digitally, you get it for $10 cheaper. That'd be so cool.
Yeah.
Like, think of it that way. Because the fact of the matter is games are getting more and more expensive to make. And that's the reason you have things like microtransactions. You have things like microtransactions in games because these publishers and these developers need to make more money from their games because they're not recouping the cost it takes to make them. Games are getting extremely expensive to make.
And again, I'll say this when it comes to microtransactions. Look at Red Dead Redemption 2. Look at all what the microtransactions did. The amount of just pure fucking detail in that goddamn game.
It would not shock me. It would not shock me at all if the standard price of a standard video game for the next generation was $69.99.
No, and the thing is, I'd still pay it.
Well, yeah, it's it's an extra $10. I honestly think that is what we're going to move towards, because again, as hardware becomes more detailed, and games are just going to become even harder and even more expensive to make. So I bet you that is going to be the direction we move towards, as games are going to be that.
Well, it's actually, look at this. Like, think about like the beginning of this generation, to where like we were freaking out about like games taking up like 30 gigs.
Right.
Like now, like shit, we're at the end. These motherfuckers taking up 100.
Right. Well, and think about it too. Like from the PS2 era, games were $49.99. Right.
Yeah.
And everybody freaked out when they went up $10. And we've now been paying $59.99 for games for 10 years now, you know. So it is what it is. I think it's just something that we're going to have to embrace as these things become more expensive to make. But the antidote to that would be to say, well, let's cut out the middleman and let's make the digital version cheaper. So if you want to continue paying $59.99 for your games, get them digitally. Because we didn't have to we didn't have to pay for a box for that. We didn't have to print a disc. You know what I mean? So I think that's the direction we're going to move. It's going to take somebody like a Microsoft to make these ballsy decisions to say, hey, like, the next Xbox, not going to have a disc on it. Not going to have a disc drive on it. That'd be so interesting to see them do that. And I almost wonder, Microsoft has been making such crazy moves. I almost, like, they are crazy enough to do it. I would love to see, I do think that this rumored Xbox One S all digital edition, I think it's real. I think we're going to see it, and I think it's going to be Microsoft testing the waters. Do we want to put a disc drive in the next Xbox? Very, very interesting. I'll say this. All of this stuff that's coming out of Microsoft, all the rumors and leaks coming out of Microsoft, has been a highlight for me to talk about every week. This is the kind of stuff that I love, and this is the kind of smart, forward-thinking stuff that Microsoft's doing that is very, very interesting and exciting to talk about.
Yeah.
So, anyway, I had something that I wanted to sort of briefly talk about now that we're at the sort of the end of the show. I don't want to go too ham on this.
Oh, yeah, it's going to be hard for you not to.
I originally thought that maybe this show would run a little bit short and I would really go ham on this, but I did just want to acknowledge just quickly, if we could stop and talk about this for a few minutes before we end the show. The Switch just celebrated its second birthday. The Nintendo Switch on March 3rd celebrated its second birthday. And I just kind of wanted to stop for a few seconds, you know, just take a little mini topic here at the end of the show and just sort of commemorate the Switch's second birthday and talk about the Switch for a second.
It's an alright system, you know.
Full of shit. But I mean, here we are, you know, 2 years into the Switch's life. I mean, how are you feeling about the Switch 2 years in?
Easily my favorite Nintendo console / handheld. Easily the one I've probably put the most time in, honestly.
Right.
Other than like years ago on like the fucking, what was the first flip one?
Oh, the DS? Or
Yeah.
Are you talking about the GBA SP?
ESP.
Yeah, SP was really good. I got that custom SP, that modded SP.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I was thinking about this recently where I'm just like, I think the Switch might be my favorite video game console ever. And the reason I think that is because, like, it is just such a, like the magic of the Switch, the power of the Switch.
I like visibly just like fucking rolled my eyes.
It's
in the
true
back
though.
of my head when you said that shit.
I'm being real though. There is something magical about the Switch. I have not, like, I have not been able to, like, that has not faded for me yet. 2 years on, it has not faded for me. The fact that I can play a game like Breath of the Wild while I'm doing laundry or on a plane or waiting in line somewhere.
Yeah.
The fact that we're going to be at Star Wars Celebration in April and we're going to be able to play Smash or Diablo.
Yeah.
You know, we can sit there and just literally in line at Star Wars, sit there and just do Nephilim riffs if we wanted to.
Which is more than likely going to happen.
I mean, we can sit there and play games of Smash. We could, I mean, that's crazy. That's actually crazy. And the fact that I can bring the Switch over to my parents' house and just on a whim, just say, hey, like, who wants to play Mario Kart? And you don't even have to think of like, oh fuck, like we gotta find some controllers. Or no, the Switch has 2 controllers with it already. And like, they work pretty fucking well. It's just, the whole thing, it's just like, how does it even, like, it's so smartly designed. It's like, how does it even work? You know what I mean? Like, that's the Nintendo magic. That's the sort of thing where, like, they've thought of everything so that you don't have to. You know? Like, that's why I love the Switch. Like, the Switch just has all of that stuff figured out. They just have their shit so thoroughly on point. You know? It's just... And like, the little stuff, too. Like, the UI is snappy. Like, it's so easy to play. You know? Yeah, there's some problems. Like, if I had to stop and talk about what do I want the Switch to focus on in the next year or 2 years, like, now that the Switch is 2 years in, like, do I want the online stuff to improve? Yes, of course. You know what I mean?
That I actually wouldn't mind a higher quality dock.
Yeah, I would like that too. I mean, I haven't really had any problems with my dock.
Well, here's the thing. Like, I shouldn't have had to buy a fucking screen protector.
Yeah. Did you bought one of those like kind of cloth things to put over it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I have one too. Yeah, I sort
And it
of
was
agree.
a little too late. I'll say that.
Was it really? Something happened to your screen?
I got a little nick.
Really?
Yeah.
That's surprising to me. I've never had that happen. Even before I had that, I didn't have that happen. But I have heard reports of people with with scratches on their screen and stuff like that. I mean, yeah, that's a problem. It would be nice to have that sort of premium thing that sort of, even if they just included a sort of felt inside to the inside, where the screen touches, that would be nice. I would like it, I would like several things. Of course, I think the Switch is going to have to like iteratively get more powerful as the system goes on. Like they're going to have to release like a Switch Pro or whatever, you know what I mean? Like there is going to come a time where in order to stay relevant, they're going to have to release a more powerful Switch, right? Because
Of course.
because the Switch is underpowered. There's no way around that, So that's something that they are going to have to do. And there's been rumors that Nintendo is going to release a Switch without a dock at all because a lot of people like to play it as a handheld so much.
I play it as more of a console than handheld, but I still fuck with the handheld shit.
I would say that I do it as a pretty even mix of both. Like when I'm home and I'm sitting on my couch and I just want to like settle in for a long session of like Zelda, then yeah, it's great on the TV. And if I'm like in a plane or if I like this shit is going to be a lifesaver on the flight to Chicago in April. I'm just going to be chilling, just playing shit on my Switch. It's going to be great. And like it's gonna be a lifesaver in the lines at Star Wars. It's a lifesaver when I go to my parents and I'm there doing laundry or whatever, and I'm just chilling playing games on my Switch. Like it's great. And like I said, that kind of shit is like really kind of like miraculous if you actually stop and think about it. Like if you actually stop and just appreciate what the Switch does, it's kind of a big deal. Like it's pretty fucking cool. And I really, really love it. I'm just... And just, like, Nintendo's doing all the right things with the games that they're releasing. They're releasing so many, like, quality games at such a great rate. Ugh. I'm very, very happy. Like, you gotta understand, as a diehard Nintendo fan, like, you have to understand that drought that we had at the end of the Wii U. The payoff of the Switch is so, so sweet for us Nintendo fans. We had to suffer for so long to get here. But now that we're here, it's a magical place indeed. So, anyway. That's all I wanted to say. Happy second birthday, Nintendo Switch. I love you very, very much. I was thinking about doing a whole big topic where I was like, oh, let me like recommend some games to like new Switch owners and stuff like that, because I think a lot of people are probably buying Switches for the first time. Now that, income tax is coming in and stuff like that. So that may be something that I touch on in the future. Maybe I'll do a topic where I recommend accessories for the Switch or games for the Switch or whatever. But I just want to sort
Breath of the Wild.
Yeah. Well, that really should be the first thing anybody buys. Is Breath of the Wild. It's just funny. I was looking back on my On This Day thing on March 3rd, where it's just like, I made a post where I was like, oh, I picked up my copy of, Breath of the Wild and my Switch and all the amiibos and the Pro Controller and oh, the sheer amount of money I spent on March 3rd, 2017. I think my GameStop receipt was like $600 plus.
Oh shit.
It was all paid well in advance.
But still,
But yeah, it was like $700 or something like that when it all was totaled out. So, anyway, Switch is very, very good. Anything else you want to add before we wrap it up, Todd?
I think that's about it.
All right, we'll catch you guys next week. Thanks for listening. Get fucking dunked on. Bye.
See ya.
Hey there, thanks for checking out another fantastic Nerd Bourbon video. If you like what you saw and you want to see more, be sure to go ahead and subscribe, leave us a like, drop us a nice comment, or I guess a mean one if that's your prerogative. But until next time, get dunked on.